Let's do it.
You need.
Alrighty, so thanks everyone for coming out or logging on. So this is the pre-competition webinar for swimming for summer games. So tonight I will be speaking, Zach Centron, and then the swim venue lead, who is Neil Coffey. All right, so our agenda for tonight is COVID protocol, which Zach will go over. We'll go over the maps, schedules, awards and staging, some reminders, and then summer games, miscellaneous and updates. Okay. So, and then there are some new things. I'm not going to go through each of these. This is just for you all to look over when you get a chance. But there are some new things happening for summer games for 2022, such as where the softball competition will be held and things of that nature. Okay? None of this pertains to swimming specifically, but we did want to put this this information out there for you all. And with that, I will hand it over to Zach.
Thanks, Ben. So update on COVID protocol stuff. We did have a shift in our protocol. We had a bunch of people that were involved in it, area leadership, so area directors. We had some coaches involved. We had SOMB staff. We had legal counsel. We had all sorts of people. We had athlete leaders included along with that as well. And so at this time, Special Olympics Maryland, our COVID-19 protocol is going to follow the protocol and restrictions of state and local jurisdictions, including host venues. Next slide there, Ben. So what that means for us is we appreciate that, SOI really put a lot of effort into creating a base protocol that covered our state programs. It covered our region of North America. It covered the whole world, essentially. They were thinking on a much bigger scale than what we are operating on here in Maryland. But at this point, we're far enough into what's going on with COVID that we have a better grasp on what is happening locally and what is happening in the neighborhoods of our athletes, of our volunteers, and we have a better grasp on that. So we are essentially going to continue the follow the most restrictive protocol. That'll be potentially the state protocol. It'll potentially be the local protocol, depending on where we are. Or if the host venue has a stricter protocol, we will go with the venue's protocol. At this time, the vaccination protocol, there's no changes to it. Any requirements that are still in place for vaccination are still in place. Next slide. Yep. So one thing that we want to float out there too, just so you guys know, we're not making changes to our COVID policy to make it easier for us to run events. That is never our goal in mind, especially with COVID protocol. Priority number one is protect your athletes, protect your coaches, protect all of our volunteers that come out, protect you guys. That's always the main thing that we're doing. Again, not making it easier on us to run events, but it just makes sense for the climate to work on a more local level. Again, following the state/local or venue restrictions, that's going to reflect what's going on in that local area much more than a worldwide/national guidance from SOI at this point. Next slide there, Ben. Things that have not changed. One, vaccination protocol remains the same. We'll talk a little bit about that as we come to the next couple slides. Re-entry after a positive COVID test or symptoms pop up, that remains the same. And then re-entry after possible COVID exposure remains the same. So again, the definition of fully vaccinated has not changed, and pertaining to summer games specifically, for those staying overnight, there's still a requirement for vaccination to stay overnight and vaccination for certain sports. And we'll hit that slide after about the sports as well. Vaccination and the definition of fully vaccinated has not changed within our protocol. It's still 2 weeks after your second Pfizer or Moderna dose and 2 weeks after a single dose of Johnson & Johnson. This does not also include any boosters. If you've gotten your booster, great, but that is not part of our definition of fully vaccinated. The rest of these essentially go on to talk about vaccination for participation and so on and so forth. But again, the biggest thing that we are reminding you guys with this being a summer games pre-competition webinar, you have to be vaccinated to stay overnight in delegation housing. Next slide there, Ben. Here's the vaccination chart based on the sports. Again, swimming's in there, swimming off to the far right, the last one in the green, required. That has not changed. So again, even though we've looked at our protocol, we've made some changes. What we started the season with for swimming, with the required vaccination status for swimming, continues to stay the same. I'm not going to go through all of these. It's good to keep these slides handy. If you are coaching a summer sport like kayaking or golf, you may want to pull these slides when we send them to you and keep these just to have on hand, or even going into the fall. At this time, this is our protocol. It could change at some point. We all know the climate changes, week to week, month to month, year to year. That's the world we live in now. But again, at this time, these are what you need to follow. It talks about if you are exposed to COVID-19 and if you develop symptoms. This first slide is the protocol for if you have been vaccinated. It talks about the quarantine that you do or do not have to do. It talks about getting tested. It talks about watching for symptoms. If you have symptoms, again, take precautions, wear a mask, so on and so forth. Next slide, Ben. If you are not vaccinated, again, all of our stuff has stayed the same. Talks about quarantining, staying home, talks about testing. It talks about after quarantine and 10 days after. Again, it's just the main stuff of re-entry and taking care of yourself if you're exposed with vaccination and without vaccination under our protocol.
Hey, Zach, real quick question.
Yeah.
So, I tested positive for COVID and went through my, I'm 15 days past it. So, and I tested negative on Monday. So I had taken a picture of that, sent it to Jeff Hagan, sent it to Jeff Abel. Now, Bailey, my son, tested positive, and that's why we were not in Orlando right now, by the way. But so Bailey needs to have a negative test, and I just need to take a picture. And then do I send it to you? Who do I send it to for verification?
If you can send it to essentially the big wigs, quote unquote, Hagan, Abel, Sarnowski, Steve Bennett. Send it to folks there. Ben and the sports director's got too much going on to make.
Okay, I've got Jeff Hagan, so I'll text to him and he'll send it up the chain. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Scott makes a good note. Go to the next slide, Ben. I don't know if it's the next slide or not. Oh, okay, one last thing on the protocol before we move to something else. When you are testing out, like Scott was saying, you can either produce a doctor's note, essentially saying, hey, they've tested out, they're good. B, you can turn in an official document from a PCR test or whatever it may be, or it's okay for you to do a home test and have a negative home test, take a picture of the home test and send it in like Scott was saying. So there's various methods. We recognize that accessibility sometimes and ability to go get a PCR test or go get a doctor's note or whatever isn't as accessible as the home kits. In addition, I'd like to make a plug. Third round of home kits through USPS are available. If you Google USPS home COVID kits, you could put in for your third round of home COVID kits again. It'll get another 8 per household. So if you haven't done that, I highly recommend doing it. Free is great. Free is for me is my motto. Go get yourself some extra home tests. Any questions on protocol stuff other than that? Silence. I love it. Okay. Ben, yep.
Zach, when you send us the slide deck, give us the email where you want us to send those pictures of negative results.
I will do
That's
that.
not on here, and that's pretty important.
Correct. I will do that. That's easy.
Thank you.
All righty. So, thank you for the COVID information from Zach. So we'll be moving on a little bit. So, one reminder, if you have not submitted any comments during the registration for accommodations, that could be anything like, hey, my athlete needs to be in a specific lane for a specific reason, may need the lift, anything like that. If you did not do that, you have until tomorrow at 9 a.m. to get that information to me. If not, then we will not be making any changes that aren't already in GMS and printed out on the heat sheets on site. So it is imperative that you guys get that information to me as soon as possible. We do have some already, but we don't have as much as a normal year or as usual. So I did want to make this this announcement that if you guys have those comments for accommodations in the pool, please get that to me by 9 a.m. tomorrow. And my email is right here. And this is just showing the athletes.
Can I add something to that, please?
Yes, sir.
I know that we continue. We've asked for this information many times, and people have had the opportunity to share that. When we got to Loyola, we found out that there were many notes that we never received, and that's the information that we need to be able to make sure that we're making the appropriate accommodations in the pool, whether it be outside lanes or nearest to the starting machine, the starting device, or passing information along to the officials. So that information is critical to us. As Ben said, we need it by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, because we need to then be able to take that information and go through the process that we follow to create all the divisions for the games that allow us to best combine groups in the divisions in the pool to run them concurrently, so that we can communicate out who needs a lift, who needs inside, outside lanes. And if we don't have that information in time, we're not going to be able to make those accommodations at games, unfortunately. And this year in particular, we have a lot of members of our management team who aren't going to be there. So we're very, very short staffed. So if we find out Saturday morning at 8 o'clock that this particular athlete is in lane 4 when they needed to be in the lift, that's really not fair to the volunteers on hand to be expected to stop what they're doing in the competition flow to be able to make whatever changes happen and then get that communicated out. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to everyone who has gotten this information in. So in looking at the details that we received, we've gotten notes on, honestly, 10 athletes, and that's it. So that's why Ben's bringing this up. It's really a low number compared to what we've had in past years, and that's just of concern. And if that's accurate, great. But we wanted to make sure that we communicate it out. If it's not in by tomorrow morning, then we cannot make the accommodations. It's not. We don't have the capacity to do that, and we apologize for that. But we want to make sure that you have the ability to get that information to us. Sorry, Ben.
You're fine. Thank you, Neil. All right. So the next slide is just showing an overview of Towson University. Same as usual as it's been in the past. The one thing that I did want to point out is where it says Towson Run Apartments. Let me see. Yes. Where it says that is where it will be. That is also West Village. So that's where housing will be, that's where breakfast will be, and that's where dinner will be for the 3 days at summer games. So I just wanted to let you all know that where it says Towson Run Apartments, that is West Village. Okay. Right.
It doesn't say that on the map. Oh, now I see it. Never mind.
Yeah, Carol, it's Towson Run Apartments is what the old name is, and Google
Yep.
Maps hasn't updated it. But
That's
on
cool.
the next map that Ben will show is an updated actual map provided by the university. And again,
Thank you.
Towson Run Apartments, they've just been renamed to the West Village.
What's the new name? I'm sorry.
West
West
Village. Old name is Towson Run Apartments. West Village is the new name.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. And this is the updated map provided by Towson University. So if you all ever need to go back in the slides to reference where you're trying to go, where you need to be, this is a good place to look. All righty. not going to go over everything on this slide, but just some key things to point out. There's free parking available across the street from Burdick Hall. It's in the parking garage. So you're welcome to park there. If it does, for instance, say anything like no parking, I would recommend you all not park there. We don't want to have anyone's car towed, booted, or ticketed. SOMB will not pay for that. So I just wanted to let you all know that if it says no parking, please don't park there. But the rest of the garage where it's free is free parking. We will also be providing chairs in the gym area, so you don't have to bring your own. If you want to, you can. But we will have chairs there for you all. Coolers and food are allowed in the gym area. We're asking that you do not take any food into the spectator area. Keep that in the gym in your designated areas for your counties. And then, of course, once you're done with water bottles, food, things of that nature, please be respectful of the university and throw those things away. And then please dry off as best you can on all the tarps and do not write on them. We are not trying to be a stickler for this, but we do have to, because in the past there's been an issue and we've had to actually purchase that tarp, and we don't want to have to do that again. So I see a raised hand. Liz?
Yeah, I just wondered, is Baltimore, are there going to be Baltimore County grouped together? Are they going to identify county by county, or is it going to be a free for all?
It'll be county by county.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we're not doing that good old 4th of July at the beach Liz, anymore. We've tried that, and that is not a pleasant experience.
That's great.
All right, so this is an overview of Burdick Hall. So same as it was in 2019 for coaches that haven't been there. This is how it will be looking. So one thing that I did want to point out is parents can be in the delegation area. They can cross over to the gallery or spectator seating area, which is right above the pool. It is very limited seating there. So after athletes of those specific parents have swam, please have your parents rotate back into the delegation area so that the next parents can go ahead and see their athletes. Like I said, it's very, very limited seating. So we do want to give each parent the opportunity to see their athletes perform and compete, but we can't have everyone just standing or just sitting in the spectator area. Okay. All right. Once again, this is showing the gym area, or how everything will be set up. So as you can see, there will be pre-designated areas in the gym for each county. Then you have the staging, pre-staging area, and then the awards area. Also, a caveat for this is for lunches. When lunches get there, they will be distributed to each county by where each county is on the map. So you don't have to go to a specific place for your lunches. They will come right to you. Okay. All righty. So this is the swimming schedule for each day. As you can see, Friday, we're starting at 1 p.m. To going to 4 p.m. Saturday, we have an 8 a.m. start, running roughly to 4 p.m. We'll have a coaches meeting immediately following competition on Saturday. And then Sunday, same thing, 8 a.m. to roughly 3 p.m. And then, of course, athletes, partners, family members are able to go on home. Okay. So I am not going to go through each slide and go through every event that is offered per day, but this just gives you Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and which events are going to be offered on those days. I also wanted to say Friday, we will be more flexible to athletes that need assistance. So if coaches need to be on pool deck on Friday, we're going to be a little bit more flexible, more lenient. And that's why we have these specific events on Friday, so we can be a little bit more lenient. However, on Saturday and Sunday, that will not be the case. If you do not have your credential for the pool deck. We will not be able to allow you on the pool deck. Okay. So I just wanted to let everyone know that Friday will be a little bit more flexible. If you do have an athlete that you need to be on the pool deck with, please come see me or Neil or Rob, and we will make those accommodations for you on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will not.
Ben, this is Jean. I have a question. When
Okay.
you say we're starting at 1 o'clock, is that you're going to start staging at 1 o'clock? Or are you hoping to have the swimmers already staged and at poolside at 1 o'clock?
Competition will start at 1 o'clock.
What time do you anticipate starting to stage? So we can tell our swimmers what time they need to be on site.
Probably 12:40, no later than.
Perfect, thank you.
Alrighty. So these are the order of events for Saturday. And then order of events for Sunday. The one thing also they want to point out is for Saturday and Sunday, we do have coaches meetings at 7:45 a.m. So please make sure that you are there for those coaches meetings. Alrighty.
Hi, I have a question. This is Leslie.
Mhm.
I haven't done this before, so I was just wondering if you have like an ASL interpreter or anything that could be on the pool deck. Or we have one that works with our team, so I think he's planning to come. I was just curious what that would be like.
Zach, did you have
Yeah, so
anything?
I'll hop in. That's not something we've had requested before. We typically have that for opening ceremonies and such. Neil, is that something that we could do where we give them a deck pass for the ASL interpreter?
We could, we certainly could. And given the space, it may be very difficult to be seen, but we certainly
What
could.
is it exactly that they need to have interpreted?
Good question. Thank you.
You're welcome. I just work with deaf ed kids and I just want to know, what is it exactly? Because we have a deaf kid too, and she's been doing this a long time. And so she knows, Neil knows her. Neil knows to get her to it where she can see the start light so she can flash and it will come. And she knows to follow everybody. If she has a buddy, usually we say, you know, Carrie is deaf. And so that buddy really watches for her. And they don't have to say any words. There's, you know, you don't have to, she just has to, get her arm or something and then just follow her where the next person who will interpret for her. If there's something like, I forgot my towel or I forgot my, my ear plugs or something. So if you can, make sure that before she leaves your area, and you have somebody that can interpret, or if she can read a text, just say, do you have everything? And, and then they'll go to the next room, because honestly, I've not seen, like I said, I've been doing it a long time now, and I've never had an issue with Carrie needing something. She reads lips. So, and like, I don't know your athlete, they could be much younger and are used to somebody being interpreting for them. My daughter will interpret, but I don't know that she's going to be there at that time.
It's kind of tough because I haven't done it before, but my athletes are both in their 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they've done it before. And actually, for our first qualifier, I couldn't be here for just like a random reason. And so I don't really know how that went, but it was at Charles County, and I heard it was a pretty small
venue.
So pretty easy for them to like be ushered around and showed what they need to do. I guess this being essentially my first meet with these athletes, I don't know. I know my one gentleman, he's a little bit, doesn't pay attention to things. And the other girl she's very nervous and she has questions all the time. And so they utilize our ASL interpreter a lot during practice.
Do
But
do
it
they know how
appears-
to read text?
I have never done that with them.
Okay, because that's one way that I communicate with Carrie, and she's not a very good reader, but she gets the idea, and she's in her
Okay.
40s also.
Okay.
So she's pretty, I'm just thinking that, I don't want to say that you're overthinking because that's your athlete and you know, but it really is, they will just follow, they'll have somebody who is their helper, and it really will go smooth.
Okay,
And-
I do believe that. I mean, if our interpreter should be there for like the staging and everything, and we'll say, okay, you're gonna be in lane 8 or wherever she's gonna be, and that should be good. But I was just curious. Okay,
And just
so
remind, and you've probably already submitted that they're deaf, so it's gonna be on their card, and
right.
the helper will do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Leslie, let's reconvene with this at the end, and we'll get this all worked out for you guys. I saw Liz has her hand up again.
Yeah, I just thought, for the benefit of new coaches, and I know there are a number, can you go over what the rules are for coaches on the deck during swim meet?
Yeah, do you want to take that, Neil? Because you have a good grasp of being on the deck and seeing that almost as a minute-to-minute situation.
Sure. As far as pool deck access goes, once the athletes are brought to pre-staging, there will be with the volunteers and the committee members from then until the point at which the athletes are brought to awards. So the coaches are not following, they're not escorting athletes through staging, pre-staging, onto the pool deck, etc. We do have, I mean, as Ben said, the pool space itself is very, very small. The spectator area is very limited, which is why he asked people to kind of cycle through it. It's an unfortunate request to make, but it's just the limited space. And on the pool deck itself is also very tight. So we have a one bleacher area on the corner of the pool deck where you first will walk in, and that's our coaches area. We give one credential per area to that coaches area. So it's not, hey, all of my coaches from my county are from my delegation and another delegation, another. It's not for all the coaches. It's a space for one coach to be able to be on the pool deck in those situations where there may be a need to communicate in an emergency situation with an athlete, or the clerk of course is looking for an athlete who may have been in another division, and they're trying to find that person. So it gives one coach from each delegation that proximity to the pool deck to be able to assist or calm some nerves as needed. But it is not an invitation to the coaches to wander the pool deck, to move around. It needs to be in that limited space. And again, because the pool deck is so tight and we have so many athletes and volunteers on it, that's why it's limited to that one space.
Yeah, so athletes will never be on their own once they're in staging. There's at least an escort, if not two, bringing people around. There's management team members as you go through the process. Athletes are never alone, but we can touch base, Leslie, at the end there. I also saw that Anne raised her hand as well.
Thank you. I'm from Howard County. I just wanted to go through back to the previous question about a deaf athlete, and I was going to recommend that it might be a little bit late for this year, but during summer swimming, when my kids summer swam, we put the event, the lane, and the heat on their hand in Sharpie, so that when they got to the pool deck, they knew exactly where they were going. So again, it might be something that you want to start next year at meets, so they kind of get used to it. But I still do that for my daughter at Special Olympics. It just lowers her anxiety level.
So you'll see later on in the slides, we do the arm marking that's typical for swim meets with event, with all that kind of stuff. So everyone should have their arm markings like we typically. Additionally, Neil and the management team has set up a really good system that once they get into staging, there's a clipboard on a stick that their volunteer leader person essentially takes with them that has the event and the heat on it. So there's a lot of written information for it as well too. Again, it's something that we've been working on throughout the years, and we'll have a good process, and we'll figure that out with Leslie for sure. So Ben, do you want me to take the master schedule stuff?
Sure.
So again, Thursday the 16th, again, for the most part, doesn't impact you guys. Your HODs will be there, and delegation registration, they'll get you guys registered for the main event for the weekend. Let's go to Friday, Ben. Friday, here's the whole Friday schedule. Again, the main thing is 1 to 4 o'clock is swimming. Lunch is on your own for swimming on Friday. We did that last time on 2019 for Friday as well. But again, like Jean asked, probably get there at worst case scenario 12:30 for Friday. The earlier you can get there, the better you can get set up. Again, once you are done with swimming for the day, dinner.
That Friday session starts at 12.
Okay, we will update that. That's good to know. So then again, if we are starting at 12 and we are putting people in the pool at 12, get there a half hour early at the latest, if not an hour beforehand. Yep.
So instead of when on Friday, we're starting at 12.
Neil, can you confirm that we're starting at 12 on Friday? Because I believe we have 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Of our.
No, it was 1 o'clock the last time we did it. We moved it up to 12, just so we wouldn't run late. So
Yep.
yes, it is 12 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
And we got that confirmed by Ben.
Gotcha. Okay. We will make sure we get those all updated when we send these out to you. A note again, all dinners and all breakfasts will be held in the West Village dining hall. It is called the West Village Commons is the dining area. So it will happen there. So Friday, you'll swim, you'll go to dinner at West Village Dining Hall. You'll go back across campus. There'll be buses picking up from the dining hall to take people to block party. Block party will happen. We will stage for parade of athletes and opening ceremonies. We'll do opening ceremonies. Everybody gets on buses, goes back, goes to sleep. So Friday is our usual Friday schedule for swimming. And for Saturday schedule is your typical Saturday schedule for swimming. Get up, breakfast in the West Village Dining Hall. Get over to swimming as soon as you can. Again, if competition starts at 8 a.m., be there at 7:30 at the latest. Try to shoot for earlier. Try to shoot for 7:15 or 7 o'clock. We will have healthy athletes running from 12 to 6 p.m. if you get the chance. We will send information in your coaches packet about healthy athletes. After competition finishes, dining hall back at the West Village. And then the dinner will be served in the West Village. Then you have to catch the bus from the West Village again to Olympic Park for the dance. That is the Saturday schedule. So then for Sunday is the last day. We're going to breakfast. We're going to competition again at 8 a.m. If we start at 8 a.m., be there at 7:30. We do our competition and then everyone goes home on Sunday. Same thing as the last time we did the 3-day event in 2019. And that's the same game plan that we're sticking to. Any questions on the master schedule for the weekend? Beautiful. All right, Ben, what do we got next? Oh, more summer games updates. All right. So again, dinner each night is at the dining hall in West Village. So where you're staying overnight is where dinner and breakfast will be. Block party will be in lot 7. That's the lot behind the CQ Arena. Same location as always. Olympic Park will be there on Saturday in lot 7. Typical stuff. We'll have a DJ. We'll have some entertainers. We'll have some healthy athletes, sports clinics, some activities, all sorts of stuff going on. Parade staging will start at 6:30. We are doing the reduced parade like we did in 2019. So the majority of your team will probably be seated in the CQ Arena while some of your athletes are parading in. Check with your area director or your HOD to find out if any of your swimming athletes will be ones parading in. If the weather gets bad, We will have the block party and parade staging in Towson Center, where cheerleading happens on Friday. Again, our HODs are handling stuff on opening ceremony, so they are letting us know total number of delegations at opening ceremony, anyone in wheelchairs, and again, we're sending that from HODs to Steve Bennett and Mike Sarnowski, essentially. Transportation. The main things that you need to know about transportation is if for some reason somebody parks in the parking garage by Bocce at Burdick Field, that stretch of pathway going past the student union from Barton Street or Barton Ave or whatever it is to past the University Union to Burdick Hall, that's open. You can walk that. You won't get trapped over there. Again, we highly recommend that you park in the Towson Town Boulevard garage close to Burdick Hall. That's the best place for you to park. Again, the Union Garage and Boulevard Garage are open on all levels and they're both accessible. But like Ben said, when you go in there, double check what the parking spots are labeled. They have some parking spots that are labeled for first responders, police, fire department, EMTs, some for staff that needs to be there, some for maintenance, all those kind of things. Make sure you're not parking in some sort of labeled spot.
Hey, Zach, the name of the parking garage again by Burdick Hall?
Towson Town Boulevard Parking Garage. We'll put it in the email too.
Okay. Towson Town Boulevard
Yep, garage.
garage, okay.
We will put in the follow-up email, we'll put the garage location with the whole Google link and everything that should take you right to it. Hopefully that'll make it easier for folks.
Hey, Zach, can I add something real quick?
Yeah, of course, Rob.
For those of you that are going to park in that thing, if you go in the second entrance to the garage, all that side is all the free stuff. The first entrance, there's some marked spaces that you can't park. So as long as you go to the second thing, you're pretty much fine.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good little hack there for sure. Thanks, Rob.
Yep.
Reminder that it is a little bit of a walk from the garage too. It's not terribly bad, but be prepared for a minor walk there. Shuttles will run from the West Village to all of the Towson University venues in the morning. There will also be a softball specific shuttle that runs at 7 a.m. one time in the morning from West Village to Kiwanis Park out in Ellicott City. Please don't get on the softball bus. If you get on the softball bus, we're going to have a heck of a time trying to retrieve you to get you back to swimming. Please look at the signs that'll be on the buses. Carol, do you have
Question. Yes.
Gotcha.
So there's a shuttle from West Village that will go to Burdick Hall.
It will go to all the venues. It'll do the whole Towson loop. So yes,
Loop.
we'll go to Burdick Hall, but there I can't tell you which stop is the first stop or the last stop. So
Gotcha.
yes, it may just be easier to cross that bridge across
Yep.
drive and just walk it.
I think so too. Fine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Get your steps in the morning crossing that bridge. I'll be doing the same thing. Don't worry. Again, if you get on a bus, they're going to be a little crowded. We're trying to keep as many buses in the rotation as we can. You got to sit on a bus if you do get on a bus. Again, be patient if you're going to take a bus. The route essentially circles Auburn Drive and does the loop between all the venues is what it comes down to. Next slide there, Ben. Next slide, Ben. This one for Friday, the next one for Saturday, and the next one for Sunday are just details on the loops and which parking lots they go to. If you want to read through all this and decipher it, it's all correct. But it's all just referencing a whole bunch of parking lots and times. And just know that there will be a shuttle that does a loop around Towson. If you get on it, you could be the first stop, you could be the last stop, but just be prepared for that. Again, same thing Saturday, same thing Sunday. Again, if competition is delayed for any reason, we've seen it occasionally go a little long at swimming to close out the day. Shuttle services will be extended. So again, don't fret. If we do go a little bit over for swimming, we will extend buses. Also, the shuttles have wheelchair lifts and they run all weekend with wheelchair lifts. So they are wheelchair accessible. If you need paratransit transportation from one of these buses, it's great to give them a heads up. Give them a heads up like 20 minutes, half hour in advance of where you're going to be picked up. That phone number still works for calling for a bus to be picked up, especially if you have a paratransit need. So again, good slide, good phone number to take down if you have an athlete that is in a wheelchair or needs assistance. Big one. Most of you, this will not even remotely impact because it's not your side of Towson University. On the other side at United Stadium, there is a loading dock lot. No one's allowed to park in there. Essentially, if there's a quick emergency that Mike Sarnowski or a Towson person or Steve Bennett or somebody that's running around all over campus needs, they may park in there for all of 3 minutes, get in and get out, but nobody's allowed to park in there. So again, if you're looking to park at United Stadium for anything, you must park in either lot 4, 5, 7, or 8. Again, transportation notes. When it comes to opening ceremonies, for those of you that have been there before, you kind of know the deal, how we call people. At the end of opening ceremony, the MC will call and dismiss by area and county name. So please be patient as we're dismissing. There will be plenty of shuttle buses. They will continue to loop. We will try to get as many people out as we can in waves. But again, be patient. Got to update that. Everything goes to the West Village. So the nice thing is there's no two separate runs for buses this year. Every bus will pick up at block party after opening ceremonies. We'll go to West Village. We'll come straight back. Again, you'll go right back to your dorms after opening ceremonies, and that's it for the night. Next slide. Again, we have additional activities planned for block party before opening ceremony and at Olympic Park on Saturday. The Saturday dance theme, if you have not heard already, is superheroes. So everybody better pack their cape, their superhero mask, whatever you're going to pack. I'm excited to see the athletes come out. It's been 3 years since we've gotten a good Summer Games dance in there and seen some costumes and people dressing up. So I'm excited to see folks out there.
I hate to tell
Tag
you
me
this,
back
but
in.
the girls don't need to have a cape. We're superheroes already.
Fe-
Just gonna wear my superhero shirt.
Not
And
arguing.
everybody will know I am a superhero.
I've always known you were a superhero.
Super
Marge.
mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, I'm tagging you back in.
All right. All right. So awards and staging. So this year we may or may not use the reminder app / projector to show what events and heats are next. If we do, we will make that decision at the latest by Friday of this week, and we will let everyone know. We'll send that information out as well. Something just to remember is the flow of the event. It starts its pre-staging, then staging, then the pool, then awards. And then when looking at awards, something to remember is awards will always go slower than the race and the pool. So there might be some backup. If you have an athlete that is sitting for awards and then we have to come get them because they're scheduled to be in another race, don't worry, we'll still get them their awards. They will just have to do it at a different time. So just wanted you all to know that, not to be alarmed. We will work around that, but that is just something that seems to happen year after year after year. Awards just takes a little bit longer. Okay?
Hey, Neil, really quick, do you have anything you want to chime in on that? I know we had a pretty detailed discussion after 2019 about the pool just runs faster than awards. It kind of is what it is.
It does, and we will do our best to identify if athletes are in divisions that are too close together to get an athlete to awards and then back to staging. Like I said, we'll do our best to note that and make sure that the volunteers on the pool decks know that. And if that does happen, the rest of the group. So basically, if an athlete has just finished a race and their next event is in the process of being staged, we will pull that athlete from the division so that they can get through staging and compete next. The rest of the group will receive their awards, but that athlete's awards obviously will be set aside when he or she gets to awards. We're very happy to make the full presentation with that athlete on the podium with the full pomp and circumstance of the event, or we have some coaches just say, you know what, just, you know, collecting the award and presenting it to the athlete is sufficient. So, you know, we'll do whatever works for the athlete and the family and the area. It's totally your call, but we will do our best to make sure that it's about the competition first. So if there is a backup at awards, which does happen as we're waiting on results to be finalized and brought over, we will pull athletes, or even before they're brought to awards, we'll get them to their division so that they can compete. And that, you know, that next division and that next competition is more important at that point in time than having the athlete on the award stand with the division. So hopefully that makes sense. And I know I sound really mean tonight, so sorry. Just wait until the weekend. I guess this is just setting me up to be really mean at summer games. So
Is Kevin Kennedy the voice of reason again?
again, I guess is a tough question. You have to ask him that in the first place. Kevin will not be at summer games this year. He is getting married. So and that's the weekend that he didn't realize that the games had been pushed back 2 weeks because of USA games. So thinking it was a good weekend to have his event, he won't be able to join us this year.
Thank you, Nick.
So, you know, if you're needing a voice of reason, I can volunteer, or my daughter can volunteer. We're the voice of reason. Oh, Zach.
I thought I
hush.
was always the voice
Oh,
of
you
reason.
are. I forgot. You were the voice of reason, Rob. I forgot.
All righty.
Question. How long is your time frame from being disqualified if you're not in staging?
Say it again.
How long before you're disqualified if you're not there at pre-staging?
Neil, did you want to answer that?
Sure. We're gonna go by the staging call times.
Okay.
And let me back up. I mean, as mean as I may sound tonight, as much as I may comment on it, we're all here and we're all involved in the Special Olympics for the athletes, and we do our best to make sure that we accommodate the athletes and get everyone to compete. You know, obviously that's our first and foremost goal. So, you know, that being said, out of fairness to everyone, if a division is called for staging and the entire group isn't there, we will send that group onto the pool deck. Now, knowing the process, there is some time between the moment that the group is sent from the staging area onto the pool deck. So if it's an issue of an athlete hasn't arrived, or an athlete is, you know, if there's some kind of issue going on, there's time from the moment that group has been sent to staging to the time that they get to the starting blocks. And if that athlete does in fact arrive and we can get them into the pool, great. We will do that.
No, it's fine.
We're not encouraging that. That is not ideal.
No.
But you know, we will say that if the athlete doesn't arrive and they're not there as the event nears, then we consider that a scratch and we'll send the rest of the athletes in that group out.
No, that's cool. It's all cool.
Thank you, Neil. All righty. So pool deck and staging access. So once again, we've already kind of touched on this. For Friday, we will have that flexibility for coaches. Saturday and Sunday, once again, you must have your pool deck pass to be on pool deck, right?
Hey, Ben, can I ask a quick question? Where exactly are the coaches allowed to be?
Zach, would you like to answer that one?
Rob, it's the bleacher immediately when you walk in to the pool deck, as if you were coming from the staging area. It's the set of bleachers that are immediately on the left side. That's
So,
that's the
so
coaches
it's
area.
that bench that's along the pool, basically underneath the upstairs bleachers?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I was only confused because you call it I mean, it's a bench. That
Actually,
whole,
Rob,
that whole one side of the pool?
yes, you are correct. You are the voice of reason this evening. It is a bench. I was thinking of the pool at Loyola. See, we're all out of practice. I'm not envisioning the correct pool. It's a bench.
And anywhere along that side, coaches can be, as long as they stay within the one coach credential deal.
As well, there's two lengths of benches. I mean, the hard part is as you get further up that pool deck, you run into where the starter is, we run into where your officials are, we run into where the announcers table is. So we're just asking everyone to be very, very mindful of that space. Again, it's a tight pool deck. So
If they get in our way, we'll tell them.
good.
All righty. Okay. All right. Once again, if we are able to use the reminder app, we will let you guys know in an email by Friday. But this will pretty much walk you through how to use that app if it's able to be used this year. Okay. All righty. Some reminders. Once again, tomorrow's the last day to let me know of any accommodations. So please email me. Can't say that enough. So we can get that in the GMS. So we don't have any type of backlog or issues when we get to summer games.
I do have a really quick thing. We just had an athlete's parent call that says that their grandfather died and she'll be pulled. We have her in a relay. And I was wondering if we could possibly talk to one of the other people to see if they would just do 2 relays at 2 events, or is that going to be way too complicated?
Hey, Neil, would you want to answer that?
Neil. Because it's Tony Daw, and she has to go all the way to New Zealand, and they're going, and so she's in a 4x100, and I was hoping to talk to one of the girls that already has a 100 and just say, how about if you skip your 100, do your 4x50 with your 4x50 people, and then do the 4x100 in place of Tony.
So if you're going to handle that, from your side as activating an alternate for the relay and scratching an athlete from the 100, that's fine for you to do.
Yeah, she's not, we didn't have any alternates. We have a guy alternate. And so then that's going to throw it into a guy, a mixed 4x100.
I would not be the person to answer this one, unfortunately. That I think that's going to be Ben and Zach's call, but I think that if they're not listed an alternate, they wouldn't be eligible for that particular event. Now I'm really mean.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, we're already, we just found out like 4 hours ago. And so we're all really kind of bummed. And because we really like this little gal and she's really good. And, we just don't want to upset the other 3 and we don't want to say, oh, well, you guys can't have yours because this girl's grandfather died in New Zealand. So we were just trying to figure out what we could do.
Margie, can we do a chat after to sort out the
Sure.
on this?
Sure.
I think that's a fair request. We just gotta look at it a little bit deeper. We want to keep this moving.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Fantastic.
Right. Other reminders. Sorry about that. So we will have just the last 2 reminders is the quiet area. We will work to have a classroom for a quiet area. So that is something that we're looking to have this year again. And then athletes who do not enter the water upon instruction of the starter will be disqualified and removed from the pool deck. We will give 30 seconds to wait once the starter makes the announcement to step up or get in. Afterwards, they will be DQ'd. So that is just something for coaches to keep in mind when they're getting their athletes ready for the day. Just remind them of that. Ready?
And
So, any questions? Okay. Um, so mark all participants on both arms. So this is something that we do at summer games. If you have any questions about this, please come find myself, find Neil, Rob. You could also always ask one of our more seasoned coaches who are going to be there, provided that they've already done this with all their athletes and they have the time. They can always look to help you all out. But if not, and you guys do have questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on site.
I have a question. I have an
Go ahead, Howard.
athlete who cannot stand being written on. Can I write it on the back of his ID credentials?
Yes, you can. Yeah,
Thank you.
if you have an athlete that has a touch sensitivity, that's totally fine. I think we've addressed this in the past as well.
Thank
But
you.
with that said, I think we have a good handful of new coaches on here as well, or people taking over for people coming from summer games and such. Again, our veteran coaches, you guys know who you are. If you can please, be a good resource for coaches when you have the capability and capacity, summer games weekend, our rookie coaches. And I appreciate you guys in advance doing stuff like that.
Alrighty, some more reminders. So when we get to the staging area, or when coaches are getting to the staging area, when you first get there, please walk over to whoever is in charge of staging this year and introduce yourself to who's going to be over there working in the staging area. The reason being is because if we have an athlete that's missing in staging, we want those who are in charge of staging for the day or for the weekend to know which county to go to or which coach to go to. So please, all coaches, when you get there, just walk over the stage and introduce yourself. Divisions also will come out early next week. I will send an email out with divisions and the heat sheets and all the paperwork and things of that nature by latest next week, early next week. Okay. All right. Some rule reminders. Same as alternates, and the rule reminders are pretty much same as always. The one thing I did want to say is you can turn in your alternates up to the point when you turn in your alternate cards. All right. So when the cards are due, that is your last time to pretty much activate an alternate. Okay. And the cards will be in the coach's packets. So this is an example of your relay card. All right. Alrighty, resources. So we will give you time sequence reports in the coach's packets as well. And then we will also be sending those out digitally next week. All right. It's just an example of those. And with that, I will turn it over to Zach.
All right, some last summer games updates. Again, anyone that was part of your registered delegation, anyone that's on your roster, coaches, volunteers, athletes, unified partners, will all get a lunch for Saturday and Sunday. And for Friday evening, Saturday evening, they'll get dinner. And then every morning they wake up on campus, they will have access to breakfast as well. Again, one thing that they are doing differently this year, Karen, you'll get relay cards in the coach's packet for the first day that you show up, and then we will give them to you in the morning. We will always have extra ones on site as well, that we always have piles of them chopped up and ready to go. One thing that is different that I want to reiterate again, for dinner on Saturday, prior to the opening ceremony and block party, you have to eat dinner at the dining hall. So swim on Friday and then show up at the dining hall, eat dinner, and then in the evening on Friday, go to opening ceremonies. I got to change that from Saturday to Friday. But again, eat dinner at the dining hall in the West Village before going to opening ceremonies. There's not going to be I think it was Famous Dave's in 2019 that had lunches at Block Party. I think there may be food for purchase at Block Party, but if you're a registered delegation member, eat at the West Village Dining Hall. Additionally, anyone that's a non-registered visitor, mom, dad, group home supervisor, that came from 18 states over to come watch you swim, we are not going to be in the position this year to offer meals for purchase at the dining hall for those people. So they have to go off site to get food or pack their own and bring their own. Will say you can get almost anything you want, probably a mile and a half off of campus. There's plenty of food options. They're not very far. And if you're looking for a recommendation, come find me at some point during the day. I got some places I really like up there in Towson too. So just a reminder, meals for purchase when it comes to the dining hall, not going to be available this year.
So I have a question about this.
Yep.
And this has been a problem pretty much every year. So
Okay.
Saturday, if your athlete does not stay in the athlete village, but will be in events on Saturday afternoon and wants to go to the block party, there's this gap of time where it's kind of difficult to, to figure out like where to go, get back to campus. And it's sort of unfair for athletes who can't be on campus to not be able to get a meal in the evening. And it's multiplied by the fact that you have this family reception where there's food allowed, but athletes are not allowed. So you've got the situation, and now throw up on this situation where, in my case, suddenly I'm going to be getting a meal as a coach, and my son won't have an opportunity to have a meal. And it seems like there's got to be a way to figure out if you have athletes who are staying in hotels or going back home but want to go to the dance, that there ought to be an accommodation, so to speak, for them so that they can also either have a meal or sort of be part of that normal routine that all the other athletes experience.
So I think that's a great question. I think that's a great point, Mark. I don't have a definitive answer for a resolution for you at this very second. I'm going to follow up on that tomorrow morning to see if I may have missed a gap in availability for athletes. When we talk about non-registered visitors, I think our mindset is more for non-registered parents, grandparents, so on and so forth. But let me see if I can close that gap for you or get you a better definitive answer. I just don't want to make up an answer for you on the spot.
Okay, sure.
Is that okay?
Well, Zach, don't they usually have on the back of their card, every athlete has to carry a card. Once they zip that or they scan it, it says that they're allowed to have a meal.
Yeah, that's the thing I have to double check.
Okay, because that's worked for us. We've had a couple of kids that have done that.
I have to double check if they're a registered athlete but not staying.
Yeah, we've had 3
Yeah.
or 4 kids. Yeah.
I
So
think
for
that's
5 or 6 years running, we have been effectively denied or not given a ticket for dinner or whatever the protocol was for my son. And I assume that I know there are other parents who have faced that same dilemma of, okay, now we got to run off campus. We want to stay, or we just have to skip the event. So,
yeah. Mark, let me find a correct answer to close that gap for you.
okay.
But again, I don't want to, what Margie is saying, I believe should be true, but I don't want to definitively say that and give you a wrong answer. So you're ill prepared for Saturday evening.
So those who are registered athletes but are staying in a hotel will get a meal card?
I that's what I'm going to look to find out. I will find out the definitive answer on that. We will have it in our follow-up email.
Okay.
I don't know. Again, with me being an IUS this year, I do not have the full in-between details, but I'll get that for you guys. All right, Ben.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for asking, Mark. Control center, this is an HOD thing, doesn't involve you guys. I don't know if any of my veteran swimming coaches here have potentially even ever been to the control center. So for the most part, that's all Thursday stuff that's going on. And Jane Dunn will send all the housing and stuff. Keys will be returned to the front desk of your housing building when you're done. And you all need to stay at a 3-to-1 ratio. All right. Event guide is almost done. You guys will have those in your packets. They will be online, so on and so forth. Event guide has all the details that you need for everything, so please access that. Medical, again, keep drinking water. One thing I always remind people at swimming, it's great that you're in the pool. It's great that you're in the water, but you can still get dehydrated. It gets warm in the gym as well. Please keep drinking. We will have medical on site. If you need medical, look for the folks, red shirts for medical, and they will have a medical backpack as well. Weather is essentially, I don't want to say it's not impacting swimming because I think some of you know that if there's lightning in the area, Towson does not have a grounded pool. We will have to shut it down. And so essentially, if there's lightning within a 20-minute, 30-minute striking area of Towson's pool, they will tell us we got to shut it down. It passes, we get another 20-minute gap or whatever. In that scenario, if we get shut down on one of the days and we need to slide some events into the next day, Ben and Neil and Rob will have those conversations. I'm sure they'll pull coaches in on that too. We'll do what we need to do. Safety for the athletes is number one. We'll talk that through. Just be prepared. But in no way, shape, or form are we in jeopardy of getting rained out in the pool. Good news is it's a wet sport. It's inside. Rain don't bother us. So otherwise, we will communicate any weather issues that may come up as soon as we find out about them. Oh, and this is Ben.
Thanks, Zach. The one thing I did want to say again, which Zach did talk about, but I wanted to bring up one more time, is on Friday, once again, there will not be any lunches provided by SOMB. So if you are, or if you have an athlete that's going to be competing on that Friday, please have them eat in enough time prior to competition where they can eat. They can digest the food. They have enough time to digest their food before getting in the water. We don't want any cramps or anything like that. Remember that this is still a sport, and you know, bodies are moving, things of that nature. So we are saying eat, but eat with enough time for them to actually be okay before they get in the water. Okay. Now for questions, go for it. Any questions?
Ooh, the very rare end of webinar. Not
These slides are being sent out, right, Zach?
100%.
And
Okay.
they'll have the updated start time on Friday, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Family webinar happens next week. Families will also again be told that we're starting at noon and not at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Correct.
Zach,
Yep.
this girl from Montgomery County, and we were told ahead of delegation meeting that would be no food served at the block party before opening ceremony this year. So I think Mike and Steve had already gone over that. I just want to let you know that I believe we're told we'll not be having food trucks at the block party to sell food before the opening ceremonies,
Yeah. From what I've heard,
unless that's changed.
no, from what I've heard, that's correct. And that's why I mentioned a couple times during the webinar, again, eat at the dining hall before you go over to block party / opening ceremonies. Again, I don't anticipate there's going to be a food truck there. You know, maybe we may get lucky, but as of right now, I am hearing and anticipating that there will not be anything either, Carol.
Okay.
Hey, Ben, did the start time change from 1 o'clock to 12 o'clock on Friday?
Yeah. So we had changed it maybe a week ago. I just must have slipped my mind with everything else going on to change that time on the webinar slides. But yes, Friday start time is at 12 p.m. So when I do send the webinar slides out, it will be updated on there. When I post the recording and the slides on the coaches resource page, it will also be updated there as well. But yes.
Okay,
This is
thank
kind
you.
of a late notice to tell coaches that competition is now moved up an hour. I have to be in charge of buses. I have swimmers who have to swim on that day on the buses. And our bus is not due to get there till 11:30, and there is no eating on buses. So what do you suggest?
Yeah, that's a tough one. If there's any way, and coming from the schools, I know buses are a nightmare this year.
Yes.
If there's any way to potentially manipulate a shift in pickup, that's great. I know that's not always possible. But we'll also take a look at what the starting events are to kick us off on Friday. We'll take a look if there's any of your Anne Arundel folks, and maybe we can manipulate the schedule a little bit. But if you can double check with Katie and whoever's hooking up buses for you guys, if
I know that, yes.
yeah, if
We're
you
not
guys,
due to arrive until 11:30. That, what I'm saying, I'm head coach, but I'm following the bus. They're gonna drop them off at their housing. I'm just a little confused how I'm gonna get swimmers from housing to the pool on time.
I would have them dropped off right at the pool. I don't know if housing on Friday is going to be open at noon right away. My recommendation is go straight to the pool, and we can then potentially, I think we can help you get your stuff to housing and make that a little bit easier. But my recommendation, Carol, would be go straight to the pool.
Okay. So if I can put my summers all on one bus and have that bus take it to Burdick Hall would be better.
Yes, go straight to the pool, drop at the pool, take your sleepaway stuff with you.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, we'll find an extra room to put your stuff and lock your stuff in.
That's the only problem, is having their luggage and then schlepping it back over the bridge.
Yeah.
Could be interesting. Okay.
We'll see what we can do to help you with that. I think we can potentially help you with that. So, but go
Sounds good.
pool and get yourself set up.
So, okay, good.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Alrighty. Hearing none. So, thank you all for tuning in to the pre-competition webinar. Once again, thank you all for being coaches. Without you all, there is no competition. So thank you again. We're looking forward to a great summer games, to a great competition, and to seeing everyone back for the first time in a full game since 2019. So we'll see you guys very soon. All right.
Yeah, thank you guys again. I just want to echo what Ben said really quick. And I also want to thank you guys for supporting each other, supporting Ben, supporting Rob and Neil and the swim team. Again, you guys do a great job taking care of each other every year. Again, you do a great job as coaches taking care of your athletes. We're excited to be back, like Ben said. So thank you all again. And if you need anything, please reach out to Ben. I'll be tagging along with Ben, helping him out as well. But we got your backs. We're excited to see you guys. Just let us know if we can help you in any way. All right.